What's going on, guys? Today's video, we're gonna be working on this 1968 Dodge Charger with the Hellcat Swap. So this is going to be the final episode of this series, you guys. So if you guys are stopping by for the first time, this car arrived, was not working, nothing worked, wouldn't turn on, wouldn't power up, keys were unprogrammed, and needed a lot of work. So we've spent quite a bit of time getting this thing sorted out, getting it to function, and try to get it to be as factory or as stock as possible. And most of that is done, but what we're gonna do on this video is we're gonna button things up, and then I'm gonna go over all the functions, how this thing operates, and all of the works. So right now, if you guys watched the last episode, we got the windows, the door locks working, all that stuff works, but I wanna finish putting everything back together. So I have to finish putting the interior back together, finish bundling all the wires, organizing wires, kind of boring stuff, but stuff that needs to be done to kind of get this thing into completion. And then same thing in the back, get a bunch of stuff organized. We got panels and stuff that we've removed. And then same deal with the trunk. We've got a bunch of interior panels, and I also have to organize the wiring all through the back. You can see the fuse boxes kind of laying about, and different wiring and stuff like that. You can see all this wiring is not secured and it's just kind of dangling here. So I'm gonna get all this stuff situated. Again, we've got lots of interior panels and pieces all over the place. And then we do have to get this thing cleaned up as well, because this vehicle is going to be leaving here soon. So door panels are back on. I've got the kick panel in, but I still got to do the center console trim there and get that bezel all in place and get this thing ready. So let's get to work, get this done, and then I'll show you guys the full functionality on this vehicle. Okay, so just getting the glove box backing in there, and I noticed that this was still attached to the glove box itself. And this is like that cable that kind of lets it down softly and retracts it. And it looks like it's off on the other side. So I gotta take this all back off and see if I can reconnect this. I've never seen one pulled out of the little shock dampener there, but let me see what I can do. So here is the little mechanism I was telling you about that the string attaches to. Somebody has pulled this out of here because it wasn't attached originally when I received it. And that has to click into here. All right, so this thing's a little bit beat up, but you get the idea. The string is attached to there. Got this little spring with this dampener on here. I might need a little bit of oil or something. It's kind of getting bound up, but you guys get the idea. Okay, there we go. So glove box is installed. There we go. That little dampener thing is probably needs to be replaced. I did my best, but I think it has to be replaced. Anyways, that's in place. Let's put the door sill in here. All right, there we go. There's the door sill. And like I said, these are gonna leave loose so that the windows can be adjusted. We're not gonna fully affix these in place. And then a custom kick panel down here is gonna have to be made to kind of finish that off. But we're not gonna worry about that just yet. Let's go to the other side and put the other door sill in. Okay, and here is this door sill in place. So now what I'm gonna move on to is the trunk area. So you guys see this all mess right now. All the wires are all over the place, and I'm gonna go ahead and dress all this in as best as possible, and I'll show you guys what I come up with. All right, so here's the back panel, you guys. So everything's now organized for the most part. Some of this stuff was pre-existing as far as these boxes and kind of carpeting, so not much I can change there in that aspect. This here, this still has to get actually put into place. I'm gonna leave it off because this does have to, like these little lights for example, these have to be probably cut into here, so it has to be cut into the panel. So I'm not going to fully affix this one, but this is the way that this was. It kind of had like all these little strips of carpet like glued on and added to it, which was a little bit funny, but yeah, you can see here there's like extra little strips to fill little gaps and stuff. So that's that. And like I said, these have to be cut into it. Also, the reverse camera still has to be installed into the hole. So I'm not going to put this panel in place, but you can see here everything is nicely organized, at least through here, and just looks a lot more presentable. So that's done. The other thing I'm going to do is I have the covers here. So I'm going to go ahead and put these covers on the engine. That way that's all back in there and everything is mostly buttoned up in here. But let's get those covers in there right now. All right, there we go. There's the covers in place. So that's all done as well. On to the next. All right, guys. So what I'm trying to figure out now to get this thing ready is our climate control. The dude's a little bit funny. So I think I got to do little bit more programming, you'll see here that it says low, or if I push up, it goes high. There's no in between, low, high. Same thing here on the climate buttons. If I push down, it just goes all the way low. If I push up, it goes all the way high. It's like completely just on or off. So I gotta see what she's upset about and try to get this so that it functions normally. All right, so one of the things with this, it's actually the next day. I've got 2 more 8.4s over here. These are tested working units, mint condition. Shameless plug, if you guys want one of these for your Ram, hit me up. I've got 2 of them that are tested working with the codes right there. This thing has a mishmash of components and years and all that stuff. So when I read with the scan gauge, this is actually changing the temperature, but the 8.4 is not showing the temperature. Also, I tried a different climate control module and it seems to be functioning better. Before I couldn't even get the, whether it showed that it was, blowing on the face vents, and not that they are actually here, they still have to be all ran, but all the different vents, the settings, the fan speed, it wasn't even showing until I plugged in a different climate module, which is over there. So I'm gonna have to swap that out. I just kind of informally plugged it in, which I'll show you in a minute. But what I'm gonna try and do now is I'm going to try swapping out this 8.4 for one of those and see if all of a sudden it shows the temperature. So like I showed you guys, it's not showing the temperature, but when you actually move the physical buttons, it is registering, but it's just not showing there. So let's see if it's an issue with this. Okay guys, so as suspected, with a different 8.4 in here, hopefully you guys can see, we can actually adjust the temperature. It's in Celsius right now, but you can see at least it goes up and down as it's supposed to. Up and down works fine. So in the fan settings, it shows there. Good to go. All right, so the other 8.4 in here, we're able to now change the screen. As you can see here, we've got the Hellcat logo. So when this one actually boots up, it looks, if I open the door here to reset it. So when this one boots up, it looks a lot better than the other one because watch, we got the Hellcat logo, SRT logo, everything looks a lot nicer, and then the Hellcat logo. And you can go in obviously and change it. If I go over here, or settings, vehicle must be in run, change, okay. But I mean, we can put some much nicer themes on here. So we've got, all these different SRT themes, just honeycomb, that style Hellcat logo, blue if you want. So I think this one looks the coolest, the one with that logo, but let's go ahead and see if the other radio wants to cooperate any differently, but I think this one's the best one in my opinion. We got the performance pages working on this one, but we'll figure this out here, which one we want to go with. So performance pages open, here we go. So we got performance pages. If I hit the SRT button down here, got all our different modes, sport, track, all that good stuff. Okay, so some more last minute madness. So we've got the new screen in. I've got all this part because when we originally put the center console in, we were far from completion, and I'm trying to see if I can get a few things working. Again, you guys got to remember this thing has a charger harness and it has a Challenger center console. So I want to make sure that the accessory, like our 12 volt plug works, which is currently not at the moment. I can't remember if we plugged it in because there was a lot more priorities. I think maybe this one was plugged in, maybe not the rear one. I'll have to double check. I want to see, just double check that before we button things up. But just minor stuff, you guys, but I'll go ahead and see what we can get done. All right, I promise I couldn't make this up if I tried, but I was trying to find the, I guess the 12 volt that goes, and it's on the bottom here, but for the 12 volt outlet, this wire, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is it, but it's stuck. And then I ended up getting it out, and look what I found on the end. So somebody is wiretapped and done all sorts of funky things for this, but I did find it was buried up in there. So it's got some sort of ambient light, and then of course this one here, which is the 12 volt. So this will plug into here so that this cigarette lighter will work, and that should get that one working. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do with this ambient light. It's made for the charger, but it is here. So let me figure out a few more of these things and we'll put this back together. All right guys, I'm getting into things that I did not plan to last minute. So the wiring bandit from previous strikes again. If you guys notice here, I got all the wires to work as far as our shifter and stuff back then, but again, we were just doing the essentials. But you'll notice I went through 2 of my adapters, shout out to Whatever It Takes transmission parts, but I blew through one of these and a more expensive one because I had 12 volts here, but my polarity was reversed. And when I looked over here, black, red. That is not good. Black to red. So you see the corner pin, it's red here, black on this side. So the wiring bandit was over here, mix matching pins as well over here, and I didn't think they moved every single pin last time I fixed this, but apparently they did. So not the end of the world, but I went through 2 of these before I figured out the problem. This one from the dash, that one works no problem, but this over here I gotta repin, so let me repin this stuff. All right, so, and if you guys didn't believe me, somebody has written 1 through 12 and 13 through 24. So got it all corrected, but I just found more indication that I didn't earlier realize. But I noticed a bunch of green wires going back this way, and look, these are other wires that they have disconnected and taped. These ones are kind of irrelevant for us because those are more for all the, in a Charger Challenger, all the heated seats and all the functions that are on the back of the console, which the Challenger doesn't have. So no point in connecting those, but somebody has removed them from the connector, so somebody's just been in here mucking about. But as long as I have everything working on the console of the Challenger, then I'm happy. So I've got my correct polarity here, and what I might do is see if I can get this last thing to work. So I'm going to see if I can get the plug for the illuminated cup holders to work, because I think that would be kind of cool, because this one is a different plug for the Charger Challenger. So I'll see if I can get that to work, and we'll move on from there. So here's the 2-pin connector that we need from our hacked up, if you guys remember, the hacked up Challenger harness that was in here. So I need that connector, not that one, where'd it go? That connector, and I'm gonna pin that on and replace this connector so that our illuminated cup holders will work. All right, so I ended up putting that 2-pin connector. I'm just gonna leave this one here just so the wires aren't tangling. That's the Charger one. And then now, ta-da, let me kill the lights. We've got illuminated cup holders. Also, everything else started illuminating as well. So like our little info center over here with the like your auxiliary and all that, that's lighting up, and as well as everything else. So now everything lights up properly, which is nice. So if we turn on accessory, you can see this lights up, but I'll show you guys from the front once we put everything back together. But yeah, much better. Also, you notice this here. So this auxiliary port is lit up as well. All right, guys, so the car is mostly back together, and I just figured I would show you guys here. So we got the red key here. Here's that ring I was telling you about here, and if I turn the running lights on, you'll see that it glows. So there you go. And then also this 12-volt port now glows when you turn the running lights on. I don't know if you'll be able to see that in daytime. And then last but not least, in here, even this little media hub and this will also glow as well. So hopefully you can see the media hub light up there, and then this one will actually glow when you cycle the key. So this one is energized as well. Now that's all done. So one last thing I have to do is I've got to swap out the climate control module. So the one that's right there is the one that works. The one that's actually mounted to the HVAC unit has to come out, because I just plugged the other one back in. And if you'll notice over here, let me shut off the dinging. So now we've got this head unit. You saw it pops up SRT. It's got the Hellcat logo. I think this one looks a lot better. But see how here, look, we've got with the other HVAC module plugged in, you can hear the fan, but it's acting a little bit funny, and it doesn't show the temperature. So same issue with the temperature, can't go up or down. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna swap it out, and then when I put that one back in there, you're gonna see the temperature come back to working, and this all come back to life. All right, so old climate module is out, this one's back in. Now you can see here we've got temperature, and we've got the temperature bar there. So that is done. All right, we're all over the place, boys. So car's on the lift. I want to put it up in the air and see if we can correct the steering. We're not going to do an alignment by any means, still needs an alignment, but the clock spring is at least one rotation out. So we're going to see if we can disconnect the intermediate shaft, turn the steering wheel more towards the center line, and then we'll reconnect it. So let's put this thing up and get some stuff done. All right, you guys ready for the next installment of WTF moments with this thing? So like I said, I wanted to get the clock spring kind of rotated. In order to do that, because once you take the clock spring off the steering column, it locks itself, so you can't really take it off and then spin the clock spring and put it back on. So what I'm doing here is just disconnecting the intermediate shaft. And prior the intermediate shaft, a lot of the bolts were loose. Also, it's missing a lock nut, you'll see right there on that joint, so that has a bit of play in it, as you can probably see in here. But every time you turn to the steering, it would like kind of do like this chunking. And what I just found out here when I disconnected the steering column from the intermediate shaft, hopefully you guys can see right there, it has been getting worn like crazy right here. And what has been happening is they bottomed it out on this universal joint right here. So every time you turn the steering, since this is on an angle, it's basically just chewing at the tip of this. So what has to happen to properly do this is to trim this back so that this bottoms out on here and the depth of this doesn't come into contact with the universal joint, which has not happened. So it's literally been chewing at itself right here, which is what's giving us our notchy steering. Also, you'll notice that this has to be completed as well, which is gonna happen here shortly, I was told. So, but we're just doing specific tasks on this thing. All right, so I've got our steering column disconnected, and now I can freely turn this so that I can get our clock spring straight. And what I'm doing here is looking here. So if you guys will see right there, steering angle right now, it's at 267 degrees. And we've got to go this way. So if I go one more revolution that way, it should be, read system status again. There we go, 8 degrees. So this is centered here. So read it again. Boom, there we go, -3. So that's where it should be with the wheels as close to center as possible. Obviously it needs alignment, but at least it's not like a whole turn or two out. I had to turn that thing 2 turns, so a little bit sketchy. Hopefully the clock spring survives, because she has been spinned around a bunch, which is a little sketchy. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and reconnect the steering, and then that way when we put this thing in reverse, the lines for the grid lines, when you put in reverse, they're gonna be happy, the steering angle sensor is gonna be happy, so overall everything's just gonna be more happy. All right, and here we go. Hopefully the battery's not dead, even though I had it on the trickle charger. Hey, let's go. So now the lines should be relatively straight, and they are. And we turn the steering. There we go, mostly straight, so we're good. Okay, boys, so it's a bit bittersweet today. So this car is leaving today. So she is finished. We're probably gonna end up following up with some stuff. So once some of the mechanicals get wrapped up and all that stuff gets contended with, I'm sure there's gonna be some stuff we'll have to address and clean up. But I mean, she's a running, driving, functioning vehicle now. So the interior's all back in. The other seat and the back seats and all that stuff's got to be put back in. Once all that stuff gets completed, you guys, we are going to get some clips of this thing ripping. I know, trust me, just as much as you guys, you want to see this thing ripping, doing smoky burnouts, all that goodness. But there is a bunch of mechanical stuff that still has to be addressed before that can happen. So we will get footage of that soon. But there she is, boys. She's all back together, functioning. And I'm going to do one more video just before this thing leaves, because I want to show everything that we've done as far as the function, all the different things that we've done, the features that we've added to this to get this thing to where it is today. You guys have already seen it from just watching all the footage and all of the episodes up until this point, but I want to just make an all-inclusive video on everything. The lights, all the menus that we put on here, as far as the functions, tail lights, everything, stereo, all that good stuff working. I'm going to show you guys that in a completely separate video, but here she is. The last time you guys are probably going to see this thing getting worked on. So I'm pretty happy with it, you guys. Like I said, I'll show you guys the final thing. There's some stuff that needs to get buttoned up on it, but she's good to go now. So there is a lot to look forward to. We've got the SST project, so the Hemi SST, that's gonna get worked on, and then we're gonna be addressing some stuff and getting the Hell Ram going as well. So, but like I said, super happy with the outcome. I loved this series. If you guys enjoyed the series, give it a thumbs up. If you guys are new to the channel, go check out all the videos that led up to this point. That way you guys can see what this thing was like when it showed up and the state it is in now. So everything functions like a newer Hellcat. Super cool car, super cool project. She's running, fans come on, everything stays cool. Definitely loved this adventure. Comment down below what you guys liked best about this project. Hit the subscribe button if you guys want to be notified of more videos that we have coming on the way, because we've got a lot more cool projects on the go. I'll see you guys on the next video.